Welcome back to our channel, where we dive deep into the real talk about dating, relationships, and love after 40. I'm here today to share some hard truths that every mature woman needs to hear. If you're dating in your 40s, 50s, or beyond, this video is going to be a game changer for you. Before we jump in, I want you to do me a favor. If this content helps you see your dating situation more clearly, please hit that like button. It really helps our channel reach more women who need to hear these truths. And don't forget to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you never miss our latest relationship insights. Your support through Super Thanks also helps us create even better content for you. So if you're feeling generous, we truly appreciate it. Now, let's talk about something that's been weighing on many of your hearts. You've been dating someone maybe for weeks or even months. You're feeling hopeful, maybe even falling for him. But something feels off. You can't quite put your finger on it, but there's this nagging feeling that he's not as invested as you are. You're wondering if you're just overthinking it, or if your intuition is trying to tell you something important. Here's the truth that no one wants to face. When a man isn't genuinely interested in building a long-term future with you, he'll show you through his actions, even if his words say otherwise. And as mature women, we need to stop making excuses for behavior that doesn't align with someone who sees us as their person. Today, I'm going to break down 6 clear signs that a man is keeping you at arm's length because he doesn't see you as his long-term partner. These aren't subtle hints or maybes. These are concrete behaviors that speak louder than any sweet words he might whisper in your ear. The reason this matters so much for older women is that we don't have the luxury of time that we had in our 20s. We're not looking to waste years of our lives on someone who sees us as a placeholder while they figure out what they really want. We deserve someone who chooses us intentionally, not someone who's keeping us around as a convenient option. So grab your coffee, get comfortable, and let's dive into these 6 behaviors that reveal a man's true intentions. And remember, if you find value in this content, show some love with a like, leave a comment sharing your thoughts, and don't forget to share this with other women who might need to hear this message. Sign number 1. He keeps your relationship in a bubble. The first major sign that a man isn't serious about a long-term future with you is that he deliberately keeps your relationship separate from the rest of his life. This is what I call the bubble effect, and it's one of the most telling behaviors you need to watch for. When a man is genuinely interested in building a future with you, he naturally wants to integrate you into his world. He's excited to show you off, to have you meet the people who matter to him, and to include you in the various aspects of his life. But when he's not seeing you as his long-term partner, he'll work hard to keep you compartmentalized. This shows up in several ways. First, you'll notice that you never meet his friends. He might talk about them or mention hanging out with them, but somehow you're never invited along. When you suggest joining him for a casual get-together with his buddies, he'll have excuses. Maybe he says they're not ready to meet anyone yet, or that it's just going to be a guy's night, or that you wouldn't really fit in with their dynamic. The truth is, when a man is serious about you, he wants his friends to meet you because their opinion matters to him, and he wants them to see why he's so happy. He wants to share his joy with the people closest to him. But when he's keeping you at a distance, he knows that introducing you to his inner circle sends a message about his intentions that he's not ready to send. The same pattern happens with his family. Months can go by without any mention of meeting his siblings or his parents, or even hearing much detail about them. If you do hear about family events, you're consistently not invited. He might say his family is complicated, or that he doesn't want to deal with their drama, or that he wants to keep things simple for now. But here's what's really happening. He doesn't want his family to get attached to you or start asking questions about when they'll see you again. This bubble extends to his living space too. If you've been dating for a significant amount of time and you've never been to his place, or if visits to his home are rare and feel oddly formal, pay attention to that. A man who sees you as his future partner wants you to feel comfortable in his space. He wants you to have a toothbrush there, to leave a sweater behind, to feel like you belong. But perhaps the most telling aspect of the bubble is how he handles social media and public acknowledgement of your relationship. In today's world, social media is a window into someone's life and priorities. If you've been dating for months and there's no trace of you on his social media, that's significant. I'm not saying he needs to post couple photos every day, but a complete absence of your existence in his public life is a red flag. He might explain this away by saying he's private or that he doesn't like to mix his personal life with social media. But notice if he posts about everything else in his life, his workouts, his meals, his travels, his achievements. But somehow you're the one aspect of his life that needs to remain invisible. The bubble effect also shows up in how he talks about the future. When a man sees you as his long-term partner, the future naturally includes you. He'll say things like, when we go to that restaurant, or next Christmas we should visit my family, or I'd love to show you my hometown someday. But a man who's keeping you in a bubble will be very careful about future language. He'll talk about his future plans, but you'll notice you're rarely included in them. This behavior is particularly painful for mature women because we've often been through relationships where we were integrated into someone's life, and we know what that feels like. We know the difference between being someone's partner and being someone's secret. We remember what it was like to be proudly introduced as someone's girlfriend or wife, to be included in family gatherings, to feel like we belonged. The hard truth is that when a man keeps you in a bubble, he's treating you like a temporary situation rather than a permanent addition to his life. He's enjoying what you offer, your companionship, your affection, your attention, but he's not willing to make the emotional investment that comes with truly integrating someone into your world. This doesn't necessarily mean he's malicious or trying to hurt you. He might genuinely enjoy your company and care about you. But caring about someone and seeing them as your life partner are two very different things. And as mature women, we need to be honest about the difference. If you recognize this pattern in your relationship, it's time for some direct communication. Ask him where he sees the relationship going. Pay attention not just to what he says, but to whether his actions start to change. A man who's ready to get serious will begin opening up his world to you. A man who's not will likely give you more reasons why things need to stay as they are. Remember, you deserve someone who's proud to have you in their life, someone who wants to show you off, someone who naturally includes you in their world because they can't imagine that world without you. Sign number 2, he avoids deep emotional intimacy. Second major sign that a man isn't planning a long-term future with you is his consistent avoidance of deep emotional intimacy. This goes far beyond physical intimacy, though that may be affected too. I'm talking about the kind of emotional connection that forms the foundation of lasting partnerships. When a man sees you as his life partner, he wants to know you deeply and wants to be known by you. He's curious about your inner world, your fears, your dreams, and your past experiences that shaped you. He shares his own vulnerabilities and creates space for authentic emotional connection. But when he's not envisioning a future with you, he'll work hard to keep things on the surface. This avoidance shows up in how he responds to your emotional needs and expressions. When you're going through something difficult, stress at work, family drama, health concerns, or just feeling overwhelmed by life, notice how he responds. Does he lean in and ask thoughtful questions? Does he offer genuine support and comfort? Or does he seem uncomfortable, change the subject, or offer quick solutions that feel dismissive? A man who's emotionally invested in you will want to be your safe harbor during storms. He'll check in on you, remember what you're dealing with, and follow up on things that matter to you. But a man who's keeping emotional distance will treat your problems like inconveniences that he needs to manage rather than opportunities to deepen your connection. This pattern is especially apparent when you try to share deeper parts of yourself. Maybe you want to talk about your divorce and what you learned from it, or your relationship with your adult children, or your fears about aging, or your dreams for your next life chapter. Notice if he seems genuinely interested in these conversations, or if he steers things back to lighter topics. The same thing happens when you express any needs or concerns about the relationship itself. When you try to talk about where things are going, or express that you'd like more time together, or share that something he did hurt your feelings, how does he respond? Does he engage thoughtfully and work to understand your perspective? Or does he deflect, minimize your feelings, or make you feel like you're being too demanding? A man who's emotionally invested will see these conversations as opportunities to strengthen your bond. He'll want to understand how you feel and work together to address any issues. But a man who's not planning a future with you will see these conversations as pressure that he wants to avoid. This emotional distance also manifests in how he shares his own life with you. You might notice that even after months of dating, you know surprisingly little about his inner world. He'll share surface-level information about his day, his work, and his activities, but he rarely opens up about his feelings, his struggles, his fears, or his deeper thoughts about life. When you ask him about his past relationships, his family dynamics, his biggest challenges, or his genuine hopes for the future, his answers feel vague or rehearsed. It's like he has a wall around the deeper parts of himself, and he's not interested in letting you pass that wall. This is particularly challenging for mature women, because we often have a rich emotional intelligence and a desire for meaningful connection. We've been through enough life experiences to know that surface-level relationships aren't fulfilling. We want a partnership that includes emotional intimacy, vulnerability, and mutual support. The painful truth is that when a man avoids emotional intimacy with you, he's protecting himself from getting too attached to someone he doesn't see as his permanent partner. He's keeping his heart guarded because he knows that deep emotional connection makes it harder to walk away. This doesn't mean he's incapable of emotional intimacy. He might have had deeply connected relationships in the past, or he might develop that capacity with someone he sees as the one. But with you, he's choosing to stay on the surface because he's not planning to go the distance. Physical intimacy patterns often reflect this emotional distance too. You might notice that while he's interested in sex, there's something missing in terms of true physical intimacy. Real physical intimacy involves emotional presence, vulnerability, and a desire to connect with your whole person, not just your body. When a man is emotionally distant, physical encounters can feel disconnected or routine, even if they're physically satisfying. He might also be inconsistent with physical affection outside of sexual encounters. You don't get much cuddling while watching movies, spontaneous kisses, hand-holding, or the kind of casual physical contact that speaks to emotional closeness. These behaviors signal comfort and claimed intimacy that he's not ready to offer. If you're experiencing this emotional distance, pay attention to how it makes you feel. Are you constantly wondering what he's really thinking? Do you feel like you're walking on eggshells to avoid topics that might make him uncomfortable? Do you find yourself pulling back your own emotional expression because you've learned he doesn't respond well to it? A healthy relationship should feel like a place where you can be fully yourself, where your emotions are welcomed and honored, and where you feel safe to be vulnerable. If your relationship feels emotionally restrictive or superficial, that's important information about his level of investment in your connection. The reality is that lasting love requires emotional intimacy. Surface-level connections might be fun for a while, but they don't sustain through life's ups and downs. As mature women, we need partners who are willing to go deep, to be vulnerable, and to create the kind of emotional safety that allows love to flourish. Sign number 3. He's inconsistent with his time and attention. The third clear sign that a man doesn't see you as his long-term partner is his inconsistent patterns with time and attention. This inconsistency reveals that you're not a priority in his life, but rather someone he fits in when it's convenient for him. When a man is genuinely invested in building a future with you, you'll see consistency in how he shows up in your life. He makes time for you regularly, he follows through on plans, and he treats your time together as valuable and important. But when he's not serious about you long-term, his availability will be erratic and often leave you feeling confused and unsettled. This inconsistency shows up most clearly in how he handles plans and communication. One week he might be very attentive, texting you throughout the day, making plans for the weekend, and acting like he can't wait to see you. Then the next week you barely hear from him. Your texts get short responses or long delays. He's suddenly too busy to make definite plans, and you feel like you're chasing him for basic communication. This hot and cold pattern is particularly frustrating because it keeps you off balance. Just when you start to pull back or question his interest, he'll turn up the heat again, making you feel special and wanted. But then he'll cool off again, leaving you wondering what you did wrong or what changed. The truth is, nothing changed except his mood or his circumstances. When he's feeling lonely or bored or wants companionship, he turns his attention to you. When other things in his life take priority, or when he's feeling like the relationship is getting too serious, he pulls back. You're functioning as an option in his life rather than a priority. This pattern also shows up in how he handles your time together. A man who sees you as his future partner will carve out quality time for you and protect that time. He'll turn off his phone during dinner, he'll plan activities that you both enjoy, and he'll be fully present when you're together. But a man who's not serious about you will often be distracted during your time together. You might notice that he's frequently checking his phone, taking calls, or seeming like his mind is elsewhere. He might double book himself or frequently need to cut your time short because something else came up. He treats your time together as flexible and interruptible, rather than as something precious that deserves his full attention. Weekend plans are particularly telling. Notice how far in advance he's willing to make plans with you and how he handles weekends in general. A man who's serious about you will want to secure time with you on weekends, especially Saturday nights. He'll make plans with you days or even weeks in advance because he wants to ensure he gets to spend quality time with you. But a man who's not serious will often be vague about weekend plans. He might wait until Friday or Saturday to see what his options are. He might frequently have other commitments that seem to take priority over spending time with you. You feel like you're getting the leftover time slots rather than his prime time. This inconsistency is especially painful when it comes to special occasions. Notice how he handles your birthday, holidays, or other events that are important to you. Does he plan ahead and make an effort to make these occasions special? Or do these dates seem to sneak up on him, resulting in last-minute plans or forgotten celebrations? The communication patterns around planning reveal a lot too. When you try to make plans, does he give you clear answers and follow through? Or do you find yourself constantly wondering what the plan is when you'll see him next, or whether he's actually going to show up when he says he will? A man who's not serious about you will often be deliberately vague about plans because he wants to keep his options open. He doesn't want to commit to specific times or activities because he's not sure what else might come up that he'd prefer to do instead. This inconsistency extends to how he handles conflicts or challenges in the relationship. When there's a disagreement or when you express concerns about his behavior, notice how he responds over time. Does he consistently work to address issues and improve the relationship? Or does he go through cycles of promising to do better, improving for a short time, then reverting to the same patterns? A man who's invested in your future together will see relationship challenges as problems to solve together. He'll put in consistent effort to make positive changes because he values the relationship and wants it to succeed. But a man who's not serious will put in just enough effort to smooth things over temporarily, then go back to his old ways because he's not truly motivated to change. For mature women, this inconsistency is particularly frustrating because we often have busy, full lives of our own. We're juggling careers, family responsibilities, friendships, and personal interests. We don't have time to waste on someone who can't give us straight answers about their availability or intentions. We also have enough life experience to know what consistent, reliable partnership looks like. We've likely had relationships where someone showed up for us predictably and made us a priority. We know the difference between someone who makes space for us in their life and someone who fits us in around everything else. If you're experiencing this kind of inconsistency, pay attention to how it makes you feel. Are you constantly anxious about when you'll hear from him next? Do you find yourself overanalyzing his communication patterns, trying to figure out what they mean? Are you making excuses for his lack of follow-through or his hot and cold behavior? The hard truth is that when a man is serious about you, his actions will be consistent with his words. You won't have to guess where you stand because he'll show you through reliable, predictable behavior that demonstrates your importance in his life. Sign number 4. He avoids difficult conversations and future planning. The fourth significant sign that a man isn't planning a long-term future with you is his active avoidance of difficult conversations and any discussions about future planning. This avoidance is a protective mechanism that allows him to enjoy the present benefits of your relationship without having to commit to or plan for a shared future. When a man sees you as his life partner, he willingly engages in the tough conversations that relationships require. He's willing to discuss where the relationship is heading, what you both want, how to handle challenges, and how to build a life together. But when he's not serious about you long-term, he'll expertly sidestep these conversations or shut them down entirely. This avoidance shows up most clearly when you try to talk about the relationship itself. When you bring up questions about exclusivity, about where things are going, and about what you both want from the relationship, notice his response. Does he engage thoughtfully and share his honest feelings? Or does he deflect, change the subject, or make you feel like you're being too serious or pushing too hard? A man who's not serious about your future will often respond to these conversations with phrases like, "Let's just see where things go. I don't like to put pressure on things. Can't we just enjoy what we have now?" Or, "I'm not good at these heavy conversations." While these might sound reasonable on the surface, they're actually ways of avoiding the emotional labor that serious relationships require. The truth is, adults in healthy relationships talk about their relationships. They discuss their feelings, their concerns, their hopes, and their expectations. They check in with each other about satisfaction and address problems before they become bigger issues. When someone consistently avoids these conversations, they're telling you that they're not willing to do the work that lasting partnerships require. This avoidance extends to practical future planning as well. Notice how he responds when conversations naturally turn to future events or plans. If you mention a concert coming up in a few months, or a friend's wedding next year, or your plans for the holidays, does he naturally include himself in these future scenarios? Or do his responses feel vague and non-committal? A man who sees you as his future partner will naturally think in terms of we when it comes to future planning. He'll make assumptions about being together for upcoming events, holidays, and experiences. But a man who's not serious will be careful to avoid language that implies future commitment. This is particularly evident when it comes to bigger life decisions and changes. Maybe you're considering a job change, thinking about moving, planning a major home renovation, or dealing with aging parents. How does he respond when you share these significant life situations with him? Does he offer thoughtful input and seem invested in how these changes might affect both of you? Or does he treat these as solely your problems to figure out? A committed partner will see your major life decisions as decisions that affect both of you, even if you're not living together yet. He'll want to understand how potential changes might impact your relationship and will offer support and perspective. But a man who's not planning a future with you will treat these decisions as if they have nothing to do with him. The avoidance of difficult conversations also shows up in how he handles conflict or disagreements. When you have different opinions about something important, or when his behavior bothers you, or when you need to work through a relationship issue, notice his conflict style. Does he engage and work toward resolution? Or does he avoid, minimize, or wait for the issue to blow over? Healthy relationships require the ability to navigate disagreements and work through problems together. A man who's invested in your future will see conflicts as opportunities to understand each other better and strengthen your bond. But a man who's not serious will avoid conflict because he doesn't want to. Invest the emotional energy required to truly resolve issues. This pattern is especially frustrating when it comes to discussing past relationships and what you both learned from them. These conversations are crucial for mature women because we want to understand our partner's relationship patterns, their capacity for commitment, and what they've learned from previous experiences. When you try to have these conversations, does he open up about his past relationships, what went wrong, what he learned, and what he wants to do differently? Or does he give vague answers, change the subject, or claim that he doesn't like to dwell on the past? A man who's ready for a serious relationship will be willing to discuss his relationship history honestly because he wants you to understand who he is and how he approaches partnerships. But a man who's not serious will avoid these conversations because they require a level of vulnerability and self-reflection that he's not willing to offer. The avoidance also extends to discussions about values, life goals, and compatibility. When you try to talk about what's important to you in life, your beliefs about relationships, your hopes for your future, or your non-negotiables in partnerships, how does he respond? Does he share his own values and engage in meaningful conversations about compatibility? Or do these topics seem to make him uncomfortable? For mature women, these deeper conversations are essential because we know that long-term compatibility requires more than just chemistry and good times. We need to know that we're aligned on the big things, that we want similar things from life, and that we approach relationships in compatible ways. If you find that your relationship consistently stays on the surface level, with important conversations being avoided or shut down, that's telling you something crucial about his level of investment. A man who's serious about building a future with you will welcome these conversations, even if they're sometimes challenging. The reality is that avoiding difficult conversations might keep things comfortable in the short term, but it prevents the deep understanding and commitment that lasting relationships require. As mature women, we don't have time for relationships that refuse to go deeper or move forward. Sign number 5. He shows limited investment in your personal growth and well-being. The 5th major sign that a man doesn't see you as his long-term partner is his limited investment in your personal growth and overall well-being. When someone truly loves you and envisions a future with you, they naturally become invested in your happiness, your goals, your health, and your personal development. But when someone sees you as temporary, they won't invest emotional energy in these deeper aspects of your life. This lack of investment shows up in several ways, and it's particularly noticeable for mature women who are often in phases of significant personal growth and life transitions. Whether you're pursuing new career goals, focusing on health and fitness, developing new interests, or working through personal challenges, notice how he responds to these aspects of your life. When a man is serious about you, he becomes your cheerleader and supporter. He remembers what's important to you, asks about your progress, celebrates your wins, and offers encouragement during setbacks. He takes genuine interest in your goals because your success and happiness matter to him. But when he's not invested in your future together, your personal growth will feel like something that's separate from his concerns. This becomes evident in how he responds to your achievements and milestones. When you get a promotion at work, complete a challenging project, reach a fitness goal, or accomplish something you've been working toward, how does he react? Does he celebrate with genuine enthusiasm and pride? Does he remember these important moments and bring them up later? Or do your achievements feel like they barely register with him? A man who sees you as his partner will take pride in your successes because he sees them as victories for both of you. Your growth and achievements reflect well on his choice in partners, and he genuinely wants you to thrive. But a man who's not serious about you won't feel that same investment in your wins because he doesn't see them as connected to his own life story. The same pattern appears when you're going through challenges or setbacks. Maybe you're dealing with a difficult situation at work, struggling with health issues, navigating family drama, or working through personal challenges. How does he show up during these times? Does he offer practical support, emotional comfort, and genuine concern? Or do your problems feel like inconveniences that he'd rather not deal with? This is particularly important for mature women because we often face complex life challenges that require partnership and support. We might be dealing with aging parents, career transitions, health concerns, financial planning, or adult children going through their own difficulties. We need partners who see these challenges as part of life that we'll face together, not as burdens that make us less attractive partners. Notice how he responds when you express vulnerability about your struggles or fears. When you share your concerns about aging, your worries about your future, your frustrations with life changes, or your fears about health or financial security, does he offer comfort and reassurance? Does he engage in problem solving with you? Or do these conversations seem to make him uncomfortable or disinterested? A committed partner will want to be your safe harbor during storms. He'll see your vulnerabilities as opportunities to provide comfort and support, and he'll want to work together to address challenges. But a man who's not planning a future with you will see your problems as emotional labor that he doesn't want to take on. This limited investment also shows up in how much effort he puts into understanding what makes you happy and fulfilled. Does he pay attention to your interests, your passions, and the things that bring you joy? Does he make efforts to support these interests even if they're not necessarily his cup of tea? For example, if you're passionate about gardening, does he show interest in your garden, remember when you're planting new things, or offer to help with garden projects? If you love reading, does he ask about the books you're enjoying, remember authors you've mentioned, or suggest bookstore dates? If you're learning a new skill or hobby, does he encourage your progress and show curiosity about what you're learning? A man who's invested in your long-term happiness will make efforts to understand and support the things that matter to you, even if they're not his personal interests. He recognizes that your fulfillment contributes to your relationship happiness, and he wants to be part of your joy. This investment extends to your relationships with others as well. Notice how he treats your friendships, your family relationships, and your connection with your adult children. Does he encourage these relationships and understand their importance to you? Does he make efforts to get to know the people who matter to you? Or does he seem indifferent or even resentful of the time and energy you invest in other relationships? A committed partner will recognize that your relationships with others are part of what makes you who you are. He'll want to support these connections because he knows they contribute to your happiness and well-being. But a man who's not serious about you might see these relationships as competition for your attention rather than as important aspects of your life that he should support. The investment in your well-being also includes paying attention to your physical and emotional health. Does he notice when you're stressed, tired, or not feeling well? Does he encourage healthy habits and self-care? Does he offer practical support when you're dealing with health issues or trying to make positive changes? This doesn't mean he needs to become your personal trainer or therapist, but a man who cares about your long-term well-being will pay attention to these aspects of your life and offer appropriate support and encouragement. For mature women, this kind of investment is crucial because we're often juggling multiple responsibilities and maybe dealing with health changes or other age-related concerns. We need partners who see our well-being as connected to their own happiness and who are willing to invest in our long-term health and fulfillment. If you notice that he shows little interest in your personal growth, doesn't remember what's important to you, or seems indifferent to your challenges and achievements, that's telling you something important about his level of emotional investment in your life. A man who sees you as his future partner will naturally become invested in all aspects of your well-being because your happiness and success matter to him. Sign number 6. He maintains emotional and practical independence as if he's single. The sixth and perhaps most telling sign that a man doesn't see you as his long-term partner is that he maintains complete emotional and practical independence, essentially living as if he's single while keeping you in a relationship role that serves his immediate needs. When two people are building a life together, there's a natural progression toward interdependence. This doesn't mean losing your individual identity or becoming codependent, but rather developing the kind of partnership where you naturally consider each other in your decisions, share responsibilities, and create a life that reflects your commitment to each other. But when a man doesn't see you as his future, he'll work hard to maintain his independence in ways that keep you from becoming truly integrated into his life. This shows up most clearly in how he makes decisions about his life. Notice whether he consults you or even informs you about significant choices he's making. When he's considering a job change, planning a major purchase, thinking about moving, or making important life decisions, are you part of the conversation? Or do you hear about these things after he's already decided? A man who sees you as his partner will naturally want your input on decisions that affect his life because he recognizes that his choices impact you too. Even if you're not living together, if he's serious about your future, he'll want to know how you feel about his decisions and will consider how they might affect your relationship. But a man who's maintaining his independence will make decisions unilaterally, as if he only has himself to consider. He might inform you of his choices after the fact, but he won't include you in the decision-making process because he doesn't see you as someone whose opinions should influence his life choices. This independence also shows up in how he handles his living situation and personal space. If you've been dating for a significant amount of time, notice how much access you have to his home and how comfortable he is with you being in his space. Does he give you a key, encourage you to keep things at his place, or make space for you in his daily routines? Or does his home remain essentially a bachelor pad where you're an occasional visitor? A man who's planning a future with you will naturally start making space for you in his life, both literally and figuratively. He'll want you to feel comfortable in his home. He'll make room for your belongings, and he'll adjust his routines to accommodate your presence. But a man who's maintaining his independence will keep his space exactly as it was before you started dating. The financial independence he maintains can also be revealing. While it's healthy for mature adults to maintain their financial autonomy, notice whether he ever suggests shared expenses or collaborative financial decisions that would be natural as a relationship progresses. For instance, if you frequently eat out together, does he sometimes suggest splitting grocery bills so you can cook together? If you travel together, does he naturally suggest sharing costs, or does everything remain strictly split? When gift-giving occasions arise, does he put thought and investment into presents, or do his gifts feel obligatory and minimal? This isn't about money itself, but about the willingness to start blending your lives in small, practical ways that signal investment in your shared future. A man who's keeping his financial life completely separate is often signaling that he doesn't see your relationship as progressing toward the kind of partnership where you'd naturally share some expenses and financial decisions. His social independence is another major indicator. Notice how he handles social invitations and events. Does he automatically assume you'll be his +1 for work events, family gatherings, or social occasions? Or does he frequently attend things alone, even when bringing a partner would be appropriate and expected? When friends invite him to dinner parties, weddings, or other social events where couples typically attend together, does he naturally include you? Or do you hear about these events after the fact, with explanations about why it wasn't appropriate for you to join him? A man who sees you as his partner will naturally present you as a unit in social situations. He'll assume you're included in couple-oriented events and will want you by his side for important occasions. But a man who's maintaining his independence will continue to navigate social situations as if he's single, keeping you separate from his social obligations and opportunities. This independence extends to how he handles holidays and special occasions. Notice his approach to major holidays, birthdays, and other significant times of the year. Does he naturally make plans that include you? Or do you find yourself wondering what you'll be doing for Christmas, New Year's, or other important occasions? A committed partner will include you in holiday planning because he can't imagine celebrating without you. But a man who's maintaining his independence will often make separate plans or leave you uncertain about your role in his holiday celebrations. The emotional independence he maintains might be the most painful aspect of this pattern. Notice whether he turns to you for emotional support, shares his worries and concerns, or includes you in his decision-making about personal matters. When he's stressed about work, worried about family, or dealing with personal challenges, does he naturally reach out to you for support and perspective? A man who sees you as his life partner will naturally turn to you as his primary emotional support. You'll be the person he calls when he's had a bad day, the one he wants to talk things through with, the one whose opinion matters most to him. But a man who's maintaining emotional independence will continue to rely on other people or handle things entirely on his own, keeping you peripheral to his emotional life. For mature women, this pattern is particularly frustrating because we often have experience with true partnership. We know what it feels like to be someone's person, to be naturally included in their life decisions, and to feel like we're building something together. When we encounter someone who maintains complete independence despite months of dating, it feels like a step backward from the kind of partnership we're seeking. The hard truth is that when a man maintains this level of independence, he's protecting himself from the vulnerability and commitment that real partnership requires. He's enjoying the benefits of your companionship without making the emotional investment that would naturally lead to interdependence. This doesn't necessarily mean he's using you deliberately or that he doesn't care about you, but it does mean that he's not allowing himself to need you or depend on you in the ways that create lasting bonds. He's keeping himself in a position where he could walk away without significant disruption to his life. And that's not the foundation for the kind of partnership that mature women deserve. As we wrap up today's discussion about these 6 signs that a man isn't planning a long-term future with you, I want you to take a moment to honestly reflect on your current relationship. Are you recognizing patterns that you've been making excuses for? Are you seeing behaviors that you've been hoping would change with time? The truth is, these signs aren't subtle hints that require detective work to decode. They're clear patterns that reveal someone's true level of investment in your relationship. And as mature women, we owe it to ourselves to pay attention to these signs rather than hoping that time will magically change someone's intentions. Let's quickly recap what we've covered today. First, we talked about how a man will keep your relationship in a bubble, separating you from his friends, family, and public life when he's not serious about your future. Second, we discussed how he'll avoid deep emotional intimacy, keeping conversations surface level and refusing to be vulnerable with you. Third, we explored the pattern of inconsistent time and attention, where you're treated as an option rather than a priority. Fourth, we examined how he'll avoid difficult conversations and future planning, refusing to engage in the discussions that healthy relationships require. Fifth, we looked at his limited investment in your personal growth and well-being, showing little interest in what matters to you. And finally, we discussed how he maintains complete emotional and practical independence, living as if he's single while keeping you in a relationship role. If you're recognizing several of these patterns in your relationship, I know this might be painful to hear. It's never easy to accept that someone we care about might not see us the way we see them. But recognizing these signs is actually a gift to yourself because it allows you to make informed decisions about your time, energy, and emotional investment. Remember, you are a mature woman with valuable life experience, wisdom, and so much to offer a partner. You don't need to settle for someone who treats you as a convenient option or a placeholder while they figure out what they really want. You deserve someone who chooses you intentionally, who's excited about building a future with you, and who demonstrates through their actions that you're a priority in their life. The man who's right for you won't make you guess about his intentions. He won't keep you separate from his life or avoid conversations about your future together. He'll naturally integrate you into his world because he can't imagine that world without you. He'll invest in your happiness and growth because your well-being matters to him. And he'll willingly give up some of his independence because he values partnership with you more than his solo lifestyle. If you're currently in a relationship that shows several of these warning signs, it's time for some honest communication. Have the direct conversation about where the relationship is heading and what you both want. Pay attention not just to his words, but to whether his actions change following these conversations. A man who's ready to get serious will show you through his behavior, not just his promises. And if you determine that your current partner isn't capable of or interested in the kind of relationship you want, remember that leaving a situation that isn't serving you creates space for something better to enter your life. At our age, we don't have time to waste on relationships that aren't growing toward the partnership we desire. I want to end with this reminder. You are worthy of a love that doesn't make you question where you stand. You deserve a partner who's proud to have you in their life, who includes you in their future plans, who invests in your happiness, and who chooses you every day. Don't settle for less than that kind of love. If this video has given you clarity about your relationship situation, please show your support by hitting that like button. Your likes help this content reach other women who need to hear these truths. Leave a comment below sharing your thoughts or your own experiences with these patterns. Have you recognized these signs in past relationships? Are you dealing with some of these behaviors now? Your stories help other women feel less alone in their experiences. Don't forget to share this video with any friends who might benefit from this message. Sometimes we need our girlfriends to help us see what we might be missing or to give us the courage to face difficult truths about our relationships. And please subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so you never miss our latest content about dating, relationships, and living your best life as a mature woman. We're here to support you on your journey to finding the love and partnership you deserve. If you found this content valuable and want to support our channel, consider showing your appreciation with super thanks. Your support helps us continue creating content that serves women who are navigating the complexities of dating and relationships at this stage of life. Thank you for spending this time with me today. Remember, you have the wisdom and strength to recognize what serves you and what doesn't. Trust your instincts, value yourself highly, and never settle for a relationship that doesn't honor the amazing woman you are. Until next time, keep choosing yourself and keep believing that the right person for you is out there, someone who will see your worth and treat you accordingly. You've got this.